Welcome back, you guys. Right now, we are going to talk about what a day in the life of a coach looks like. So, I'm sure you're probably wondering, okay, well, we've already talked about what you do as a coach. So, what does an entire day look like to you? Like, what exactly is it that you do in your everyday life? So, you're going to hear about it from two different perspectives. You're going to hear about it from mine as a full-time coach, and then you're going to hear about it from Stephanie's because Stephanie has transitioned from a part-time to a full-time coach. So you'll kind of see it from both perspectives, and she obviously does part-time stuff on the side. So you'll see kind of how we've transitioned a little bit. And I know that is one of the biggest things everybody wants to know is basically how much time it takes out of your day. So we're going to talk about that first and foremost, and then we'll go right into basically what our schedule looks like for the remainder of the day. So for me as a full-time coach, now you'll probably hear stuff say, and you've heard us talk about it in earlier videos, that you commit as much time as you want to into your business. So whether that is an hour or whether that's 10 hours, like you can put as much time into it as you want. It's basically what you put in, you get out of it. So for me personally, working as a full-time coach, I'm here at home. I have my own home office. I have not always had my own home office. For the longest time, we were moving around, and we really didn't have a stable place that we were living because my husband's job just requires him to move around a lot. So we were just all over the place. So now I've got my own desk. I've got my own little setup. We're still not in a permanent location, but that's okay. Like I said earlier, that's the beauty of coaching. I'm able to move wherever my husband needs to for work. So for me as a full-time coach, I basically sit here every single day in my office and work. Some days are different than others. There are some days where I will put in, I'll start at, let's say, okay, I do my workout in the morning. So I'll start at maybe 11 o'clock and I will work till 9 at night just because maybe that day I just had so much stuff I wanted to get done, but I didn't do anything the day before. So it's really all dependent on how I want to create my schedule. Now, I will say that as you advance in the business and as you grow, you do want to schedule in business hours for yourself because business hours are crucial when it comes down to having business time and family time. So for me, that is something I'm still working a little bit on, but like I said, I do have the flexibility to create my own schedule. So depending on the day and depending on how, certain things are going, if we have visitors, if, Marcus has, a day off and we want to do something, it's all dependent on how my day's going and how I want to fit in work to that day. So if I don't, work one day, I don't have to. I can, kind of do a little bit extra the next day just to catch up. So that's kind of in terms of time. How much time I put into it. It all depends. There's, like I said, some days I don't put very much. Other days I put in a lot, but it's all dependent on what I'm trying to achieve that specific day, that week, or that month. Steph, do you want to talk about it now, I think, for kind of how you do it full-time or part-time?
Yeah, so when I first started, like I said, I had my full-time job and then I had two part-time jobs and I added coaching in. So for me, time was very minimal. I was spending about an hour to possibly an hour and a half up to 2 hours of my day working on my business. And for me, that was waking up a little bit earlier and getting a chunk of my work done first thing in the morning before I started with my day. And then another part was fitting time in the cracks of the day. So if I knew I needed to have a post up, I would squeeze that in throughout my day. Or if I needed to follow up with people, check messages, I would do those maybe a little bit later at night. So for me, I definitely had my scheduled time first thing in the morning, but I also made sure that I was spending a little bit of extra time throughout the rest of the day, squeezing work stuff in because I knew how important it was for me to make this my full-time career. So that's kind of what happened to me. But like Christina said, you make it what you want. I know girls in the business that work 30 minutes a day and that's it. That's all that they have time to commit to, and their business is growing. Is it growing as fast as somebody who's putting 10 hours in? No, but that's okay because they have their own separate goals. They're reaching their goals and doing the things that they want to accomplish in this business. They're helping the amount of people that they want to be able to help. And they're growing from there at their own rate. Everybody gets to choose what rate they want to grow at. Everyone can choose the amount of time that they want to spend doing this business. So don't let the whole time factor scare you away from this coaching opportunity.
Yes, for sure. And so just going based off of time, when we're talking about daily schedules, right now it's very, it varies day by day. One day our schedule can look completely different than the next day. But in a nutshell, there are certain things that we do every single day that are kind of just automatic things that coaches do. So for example, I have a couple written down and I'm going to list them here. Drinking our Shakeology, that is something that we always fit into our schedule every single day. It's part of who we are, part of being a product of the product. It's what we do. It keeps us healthy and it just makes us feel great. So that is one thing we always do. Our workouts, same thing. Whether we're doing a Beachbody program or whether we're going to the gym or whether we're going for a run, no matter what it is, we're staying active every single day. And I get it. There are days where, we may not be able to fit in a workout just because we're traveling or something's going on. But on those days that we absolutely can do it, then we will for sure find a way to make it happen. Another thing, personal development. Our days, we always find time in our day to do personal development. Now, you probably heard us talking in the last video about how important personal development is in order to transform our life, or in order to transform basically ourselves on the outside. We first need to transform our mindset and ourselves on the inside. So that is a huge aspect that we for sure include in our lives every single day. Another part is Power Hour. Now, Power Hour may seem like a confusing thing or may be something that you've never heard of, but that's okay. As you start coaching, you kind of learn what Power Hour is and what it means. But just to summarize it, essentially you, during your Power Hour, and this Power Hour can be scheduled into, it can be broken up into little 15-minute increments or basically however you can best fit it in your schedule. But during this time, we are building relationships. We are reaching out to people who sent us messages, responding back to them. We're reaching out to new people and adding value. We're, expanding our network and making new friends on social media, like people who maybe we have mutual friends with that we haven't seen since high school, like adding them on Facebook again. We're checking in with our team and our challengers. So as you start to grow your business, you will have coaches who are on your team with you. And one of the biggest things we do is the whole leading by example aspect. We try and teach our coaches as much as we know. That way we can best, set them up for success as they continue on in their coaching business. So there is step-by-step training that you go through, which is great. But at the same time, we also want to give value and provide as much knowledge that, we've learned throughout the way in hopes that our coaches can take that and run with it and use, figure out what works for them and what doesn't too. And obviously another aspect of our schedule every day is creating posts. So like we've talked about, Facebook post, Instagram post, whatever platform you like to work on. We usually do 3 to 5 posts a day as coaches. And that way, people can see our content and see what we're doing, throughout the day and as we go. So, and then the biggest thing that we schedule in as a coach is our family time, because as always, as much as we love our business, we have to have that equal balance of family time and business time too. So that's kind of how the schedule goes, or what we do pretty much every day. Obviously, like I said, our schedules are different. Me personally, I wake up every single morning at 5:30, 6 o'clock-ish, go straight to the gym, do my lifting, do my cardio, come back, shower, get ready, do all that good stuff, make breakfast, and then that's when I start my day, probably around 10:30-ish, sometime around there, maybe depending on what time I get home. But, that time can be also in the afternoon, filled with calls with challengers, or, just catching up with challengers who are interested, or potential challengers who are interested in joining groups. So there's so many different ways that you can fit all this stuff into your schedule. It's just basically a matter of making the time to get the things done that you need to do to be successful. So.
Yeah, you said it all.
Sorry.
As far as when I was working full time, I know I would wake up. The first thing I would do was my personal development. So at the time I was reading. Now I usually do a lot of personal development on audio, but I would read for about 10 minutes, take notes in my journal. Then I would go and I would hit my workout first thing in the morning, shower, get ready for work, make my shake, and drink my Shakeology on the way to work. So it was just super easy breakfast, and it was awesome to have post-workout just because I know I needed the energy from it to get me through the day, and that kept me full until I would have like a snack and then my lunch. And on my lunch break, like I said, I would check in with challengers, go through my messages really quick, or post anything that I needed to post. This wasn't really long. I know I wouldn't spend my entire, what did I get? 40 minutes of lunch. I wouldn't spend that entire time working. I would spend maybe 15 minutes of it working. And then the rest, I would just give myself that break and enjoy the time. And then after work, when I was driving home and while I was driving to work, a lot of the times I would listen to my personal development on audio and just have that rolling through my head, giving me positive thoughts and vibes and getting me excited for my day. And at the end of the night, I would usually come home, spend time with my husband right away because he was usually already home from work when I got home. We would spend time together. We might go to the gym and work out, or I would teach a class, and around 8 o'clock or so at night, that's when I would go back to work and maybe do 30, 40 minutes, and then I was done for the night. Sit on the couch with my husband, veg out until we both fell asleep on the couch, and then came to bed and repeated it all the next day. And when I say I was working, usually I'm just doing all the things that Christina listed, reaching out to new people, making conversations, scheduling out my posts. And scheduling out your posts don't have to be like in the moment. There's definitely ways to schedule your posts ahead of time so that, if you just want to sit down and knock down all your posts for the next day, you can do that. That was something that helped me a lot so that I wasn't constantly on social media and scrolling my news feeds and trying to get inspiration and didn't know what to post. So
yeah,
you can definitely do that. And other than that, I think Christina did an awesome job of sharing everything that we do with you guys.
Thank you. And I don't want this to overwhelm you guys. Like, I know it might seem like there's so much and you're like, oh my God, how in the world am I going to fit in all this stuff? Like, I get it. Maybe I'll work out 30 minutes a day. I get it. Like, yeah, I can probably drink a shake, but all this other stuff, how am I going to do it? Trust me, you would be surprised at how much time we really do have when we actually sit down and say, oh yeah, I've been scrolling social media for the past 15 minutes. Like, that time that I used to scroll social media, I could probably have made like a post or two by then or scheduled a post. So you really kind of reevaluate your time and see that all these little areas where you might have been spending time elsewhere, you can totally replace a lot of that with your coaching business. And this coaching business is for you. This is for you and your family, and this is for everything that you want to achieve. All your dreams, all your goals, your vision, like everything that this is, you have the ability to put everything and anything you want into it, as little or as much as you want. And again, you're going to get what you get out of it, what you put into it. So like I said, don't get overwhelmed with it. I promise you there's step-by-step training that teaches you all this stuff. I know it seems like a lot right now, but I promise you it gets easier as you go and as you understand the terminology and all that good stuff. So anything else, Steph?
No, I think that's good.
All right. Well, until next time, guys, thanks for watching this one, and we will see you soon. Bye.
Bye.